This Tuesday edition of Pucks Across Borders, Game 2 preview edition, brought to you by none other than First Round Collectibles on Sports Addict Live and Total Apex Sport. Total Apex Sports. Yeah, don't know why I butchered that. However, what's your favorite sport? Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, maybe wrestling, maybe even boxing. Whatever it is, you can get it at firstroundcollectibles.com. And right now, with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card your heart desires. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off dozens of cards all over the store. And with our promo code Sports Addict, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today and find your heroes. That's the number one, STRoundcollectibles.com, using promo code Sports Addict for 10% off sales and regular priced items. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah, oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the same as these cats.
And welcome to Pucks Across Borders on Sports Addict Live and Total Apex Sports. Mark Sauter with you. I don't know why I was doing that ad read and I just completely blanked Total Apex Sports. Dusty, forgive me. I don't know what was going on with my brain there, but we are here live on a Tuesday morning. 4 games to go over from last night and 4 more games. All game 2. Every series is now officially underway, and we got a bunch of game twos to go over this evening. But first, like I said, I am Mark Sauter, and beside me, you read his work about the NFL on Gridiron Heroics. You also read his gambling picks on Winners and Riders. You read his NHL insight on TotalApexSports.com. You see him all over Total Apex Sports YouTube and X, talking basketball, talking baseball, talking football. He talks about it all. Andre, what's up, man? That read, by the way, that bio for you just keeps getting longer and longer. I'm proud of you, man.
Yeah, thanks. I can't wait to, toss like a ventriloquist in there just to really keep you on your toes. But I'm doing pretty well. Can't complain. Definitely playoff season. I think both of us have a cardiologist on speed dial right now.
Oh, so, my gosh.
Doing things right.
Yeah. That game last night, man. I as a Leaf fan, and I try to be as objective as possible, I just go the wave of emotions. And I know it's the playoffs, and I know it's not just the Leafs, but I was texting you this, man. Like, there are moments when I watch the Leafs in a playoff game, and they look like they just barely got into the playoffs as the number 2 wildcard team. And then there's moments where they just take over and they look like if they can win the Stanley Cup. Like, the ebbs and flows of a Leaf game is just so frustrating to watch. Obviously, finished the night on a good note, but still, man, and there's a lot of drama in Leafland right now. I'll get into all of it, but first, dude, what was your big takeaway from the NHL last night?
Yeah, so there was a blue and orange team from New York City playing last night in a game 2. I'm not talking about the Knicks, who pulled out their victory. I'm talking about the Islanders, who choked away a 3-0 lead in less than 40 minutes. And honestly, might have just tossed the series away. They're on the road. That's a game you got to steal if you want a chance in this series, you would think. They say playoffs don't begin until a road team takes one, and the Islanders had it right there. They're going to go back to UBS, tied 1-1, feeling good. great chance to go up 3-1, at worst be up or be tied 2-2 headed into the final 3 games of the series. Instead, they gave up 5 straight goals, covering your puck line, by the way. Shout out to you.
Yep.
Unwavering faith on that
Skin
one.
of my teeth, man.
If you're the Islanders and there's 30 minutes left in the game and you're up 3-0, you just cannot. Not even. I mean, they were up 3-1 with 10 minutes left in the game. Seth Jarvis scores, and then they let Aho tie it. Okay, whatever. You give up a goal 10 seconds later. They just unraveled. They completely unraveled. And where do you go from there? That's the question. You're really going to find out what this team is made of in game 3, because game 2 was one of those losses that can just start your off season right away.
Oh yeah, big time, man. That was it. That was the game they needed. Like, if they lost that game in overtime 3-2, or the game was tied 1-1, they allow the second goal in the third period, they lose 2-1. It's like, okay, you kept the game close. You've really, for the most part, I would say, 120 minutes of playoff hockey, I would say the Islanders have outplayed Carolina for the majority of this series. And, game 1, I thought was really impressive by the Islanders. I didn't think the Kings necessarily had it, but they did what they had to do to win. And last night, dude, that's the one. Because of how it ended, you got to win that game. Like, you have to win that game. I've said this all along. I thought Carolina was going to leave Carolina up 2-0 in the series, and I thought it was a real possibility that it would go back to Carolina tied 2-2. However, with the way that game ended last night, man, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back, and it's going to be interesting to see who's going to go net for game 3. Because Varley, his head fell off at the end of that game, man. And I'm interested to see, are they going to go back to Sorokin here or stick with who they've had in for the last 2 games? So that's going to be really, really interesting to see moving forward. For me, my takeaway, of course, we're going to go back to Beantown. And you know what? I'll just say this quickly about the West Coast games. I didn't really know which way to lean on the Edmonton game. You and I both thought the over. You thought the over more confidently than I did. And the Oilers pushed the over all by themselves, and the Kings 2 goals took them over the hump. And Vegas, man, surprise, surprise. Mark Stone, first goal of the series. Hey, surprise, surprise. The miracle spleen, the spleen miracle, gets the first goal of the series. But I did think Dallas was going to win, and I thought that they'd win by 2. But Vegas, man, defending Cup champions, they came out, they did what they had to do. Goaltending for Dallas, a big concern, man. I believe when I saw, and I don't know, maybe you can fact check me here, but I believe when Vegas had 4 goals, I think they only had 10 shots on net, which is massively concerning if you're Dallas. But my takeaway is in Boston, where the Toronto Maple Leafs squeak out a 3-2 win. Overall, a very good road win, especially in the playoffs. The original 3-2 goal was by Bertuzzi, and it ended up being a high stick. And it was a high stick. It was called back. It was very obvious that it was, in fact, hit in the net by a high stick. But then Domi with the alley-oop Hail Mary pass to Austin Matthews on a breakaway, deking Allmark out of his socks and scoring a beauty in the top left-hand corner. And that ends up pushing the Leafs to a 3-2 win. It's a weird feeling, or as our boy Gabe so eloquently put it, it's a weird ballet of emotion, because You got the win. You feel good. I said this about game one, even more so in game two. I do not think Boston's looked that good. I don't. I think that they're in the Leafs' head. I think that they're opportunistic. They got the first goal last night. Domi comes back and scores. By the way, I believe I heard it was the 8th father-son duo to each have a goal in the playoffs in National Hockey League history. For the same team. So Ty Domi scored a goal for the Leafs in the playoffs like 2002 or 2004, something like that. On April 22nd, funny enough. There's lots of kind of similarities to all that. Or was it April 25th? I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. That's a pretty cool story, though. Ty Domi and Max Domi. And Max Domi being called up by his coach the game before just for being way too aggressive. For him to get a helper and a goal was huge. And then Boston goes up 2-1. John Tavares gets the 2-2 goal. John Tavares, by the way, man, absolute playoff performer. And then Matthews gets the goal, and I think that's exactly what you need, right? Like you want, yes, a goal is a goal. It doesn't matter who scores it, but when Tavares and Matthews are the ones getting goals, that just really, really helps your team, obviously. But I just mean like morale-wise, like the big boys getting it done. That's what you need to get done. However, there's just moments of this Maple Leafs team, watching this Maple Leafs team, where they just can't get the puck out of their own zone. They're taking stupid penalties, putting their goaltender in really difficult situations. Samsonov was unreal last night. Like, unbelievable. He made some huge saves, especially in the third period. I thought he played a terrific hockey game, and I'm really happy for him because the biggest problem for him hasn't been his physical play as much as it's been between the ears. So that was huge for him to bounce back from game one and get that job done. And yeah, so for me, the Leafs get the win, huge win, great road game, still just making dumb plays that just aren't playoff worthy plays. And it just really does blow my mind. I really do feel like Boston has not played well. They played okay in game one, but Boston, like, they're not the big bad Bruins. They're not what they used to be. And there's no reason why the Leafs cannot go into Boston up 3-1 in this series. I thought Allmark played a phenomenal game. They've been flip-flopping for like 28 games back and forth between Allmark and Swayman. So it feels like we're going to see Swayman game 3. But all that will be determined in a couple days. Well, I guess tomorrow. And I know I'm a little long-winded here, but this is the last thing I'm going to talk about because we haven't talked about this too much. And I think it is something worth mentioning. What in God's holy name is going on with William Nylander? This story is getting more and more bizarre with every day, and I just have absolutely zero clarity on what's going on here. He played 82 hockey games for the Maple Leafs this year. He's been in the league for 8 years, and he almost never misses a game. Like, I don't want to say that he's never missed because that doesn't seem factual, but he almost never misses a hockey game. And the fact that he's missed the first 2 playoff games yesterday in the morning and on Sunday, he's on the ice skating, like doing drills. And to me, someone who's never played for 1 minute in the National Hockey League, if it's the playoffs and you're on the ice doing drills and you don't have the non-contact jersey on, why aren't you playing the game? Like, I don't really understand what's happening. I'm getting really frustrated by it. It's really bothering me just because there's absolutely no clarity. It's all rumors and reporters like saying things that they've heard, but no one actually knows what's going on. And the Leafs get the job done last night. Their big boys step up and they get a win. But without William Nylander, like they need him. So it's going to be really interesting to watch over the course of today and tomorrow because this is getting to be a really big issue.
Yeah. And to your point, you said he basically never misses a game. You're 100% correct. 2019-2020 league shut down early. He played in 68 of the Leafs 70 games, though. Next year, the weird Canadian division bubble year, he played 51 of 56.
Yep.
21-22, 81. Last year, 82. This year, 82. 16-17, 81. 17-18, 82. He doesn't miss games.
Yeah.
So this is strange. I know that's playoff time. It's the time of the year. It's the season where injuries are phantom. You just hear day to day with no update or whatever, but he's been skating like you see him with the team. It's not a like Matt Zuccarello case where he has a fractured skull and the team's just not saying anything. Like he's present.
Right.
So it's bizarre.
Well, and that's the thing, dude, is like one thing about the Toronto Maple Leafs that drives me absolutely up the wall is like they don't add clarity to situations. So everyone just speculates. And it's like all you got to do is say upper body injury, he's game to game. Lower body injury, game to game. Like you just got to say something. Like you got to just tell us what's going on here. And after game 81 or 82, Sheldon Keefe called him out saying, yeah, he's checked out. He's done with the regular season. So now people are speculating this is like a disciplinary measure where he has a bad attitude, so they're keeping them out of the game. And I find that incredibly hard to believe because the Leafs' top guys, Marner, Matthews, Nylander, those guys have gotten everything that they've ever wanted. Like they're the most spoiled stars in the National Hockey League, man. So to me, the idea of like, oh, we're disciplining guys now, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but let's move on. 4 games to break down tonight. Of course, game 3 of that series is tomorrow night. Game 1 tonight, your guys, the New York Rangers, home against the Washington Capitals for game 2. Rangers up 1-0 in the series. Washington plus 230. It was plus 125. It is now plus 230 on the road. Minus 285 are the Rangers at home. Minus 105 for over 5.5. The under is minus 115. Here we go with the 5.5s again. Plus 1.5 for the Capitals is minus 115. Minus 105 for the Rangers for the minus 1.5. Andre, what do you got in this one, bro?
Yeah, so we talked about this before the show. I'm still bracing for a 7-game series. I still have a little bit of jitters for this game and just moving forward. But what I will say is that these teams have met 5 times now. The Capitals still do not have a power play goal. These teams have played 3 times in the Garden. The Capitals still have not scored multiple goals in a game in MSG. So, I mean, you watch game 1, right? And you see speed-wise, the Rangers have the advantage. They were, for the most part, the aggressor 5-on-5, especially in that third period where Washington needed to be in desperation mode. They didn't get a shot until there were like 8 minutes left in the game. The Rangers know how to put their foot on the gas against this Capitals team, especially 5-on-5. And it seemed like physicality, if you're talking about a way for Washington to win this series, it's mucking it up. Not a lot of shots, a lot of hits, limiting the penalties, really, just making it a dirty, grimy game. It seemed like the Rangers were the more physical team in game 1, to the point where McElrath former Rangers draft pick that he is, tried to fight Matt Rempe several times, trying to get his guy some juice. And the Rangers didn't take the bait. So Washington's searching for a spark. They need a spark because they got pushed around by Lafreniere. They allowed the fourth line to score 2 goals. They weren't generating much in the way of offense. I mean, their 1 goal came off a skater's foot. So scoring will be a struggle for Washington. Again, you have to think. We've seen it in the Garden so many times. We've seen it with their power play all season against the Rangers. I like the under, not just for this game, but on Washington's goal total, whether that's under 2.5, under 1.5, whichever odds you prefer. Unlike last time, I think I'm opened up a little more where I'm willing to take Rangers minus 1.5, but I'm still wary of Charlie Lindgren. And their defense held up pretty decent. The Rangers did have a lot of high danger chances, but finishing wasn't quite going their way, and that's not something new. It's not the second line for this team. So I'll say Rangers minus 1.5 in the under. More than anything, I think I like caps under 1.5 team goals, but that's where I'm at with this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of flip-flopping with this game, and it's one of those weird games, man, where it's like, am I taking Rangers minus 1.5, or am I taking Capitals? My son can't wait for this game tonight. Am I taking Rangers minus 1.5, or am I taking Capitals plus 1.5? Because that minus 115 is really, really nice value for a plus 1.5 play. I'm probably leaning Rangers minus 1.5 here, and I actually think I'm leaning over by the slimmest margins. Like, I'm seeing a 4-2 game. Again, man. Excuse me. Again, I just think the Rangers have something to prove, more to themselves than anybody else, and I just see them getting 4 goals every night. I know Lindgren's a really good goaltender. I can obviously see this game being 2-1, but something just tells me we're looking at a 4-1, 4-2, which would either slightly go over or slightly go under. So I'll probably stay away from the total, leaning over, but I'm right there with you with the Rangers minus 1.5. I'm tempted by the plus 1.5 for the Capitals, but I think I'll just stick with what's worked over the course of the first game and go with Rangers minus 1.5. Also, you mentioned it. Shout out to Rempe, man. Not getting sucked into a fight, scoring the first goal of the series, still being physical, still using his body, but not getting sucked into what the Capitals were trying to suck him into. So shout out to him, man. I thought that was a terrific first playoff game for him, and he needs to stay disciplined. He needs to stay in his head and in his body and not like lose his mind. And that's exactly what he did in game 1. So obviously the Rangers' success is going to lean on like Panarin and, Kreider and Zibanejad, but guys like Rempe can either boost the energy or they can take the win right out of your sails, and he did the former in game 1. So good on him.
Yeah. I know we have other games to get to. Just real quick. Before his goal, when he was skating up towards the blue line, it was evident he was going to get offensive possession time. You could just hear the crowd building. Just because it was Rempe who was getting the blue line, and then he got the first goal and the place erupted. That's why I think he's a must start in the Garden, because he's instant energy. Like, the crowd feeds off him so much, probably more than any other skater except Igor. So kudos to him. Glad he played well. And very quietly, Chris Kreider is an all-time great Ranger.
Oh,
but that's a for another day.
he's a playoff performer, that guy, man. He just gets the job done, dude. It's incredible. And it's going to be really fun to see tonight. Moving on to the Tampa Bay Lightning against the Florida Panthers in Florida. They're both in Florida, but you know what I mean. Florida is up 1-0 in these series. Minus 185 for the Panthers, plus 154 for the Lightning. The over is 5.5 at minus 122. The under is plus 102. Minus 1.5 for the Panthers is plus 142. Plus 1.5 for the Lightning is minus 170. And I was talking to you about this pre-show where I think this line is just ultra disrespectful, but you made the excellent point, and I'm going to give you credit. I'm going to say it, but I'm going to give you credit. You made the point that the books are just terrified to lose money on this series because, it's like betting Florida, you don't want to give them too good odds or whatever, but minus 185 is rich. This Tampa Bay team is a very good team. I like the under. Last game on Sunday, it just went under. It was 5 total goals. Under plus money plus 102. I really like that under again. And I see this game being another 3-2 game. But this time in favor of the Tampa Bay Lightning. The one thing that concerns me about the Lightning winning, even though I do think that they're going to find a way to make this series even moving to Tampa in a couple days from now. That game on Sunday, Florida did a beautiful job at making that game as boring as possible. Like just taking up all the open ice, not letting Tampa skate, not letting Tampa really do what they wanted to do. But John Cooper, one of the best coaches that we have right now in the National Hockey League, he called his team out from getting away from the game plan. And I think when he speaks, it matters, and Tampa Bay listens. Bobrovsky scares me. That guy, when he is at the top of his game, man, there are a few goalies better than him. But I think Tampa does what they have to do to squeak out a win. And I'll take the under 5.5 at plus 102. So Tampa plus 154 and under at plus 102. What do you got?
I also think the Lightning are going to win, but I have them winning for different reasons. I think that John Cooper's statement of, they established their style of play, which they did very clearly. Florida set the tone early. But I think that the acknowledgement, Tampa knows what they need to do. Tampa's been here before. This is going to be a Lightning game. And this season, a Lightning game means open ice. You get those guys some room to skate. You try to make it a shootout. And you hope that Vasilevsky just has the saves where the Lightning goals pile up. You see 3 or 4, and then the Panthers goals don't. You only see 1 or 2. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. So I'm going to take the over, unlike game 1 when I took the under. But I also agree with you. The Lightning are going to win. I think that Tampa's going to open up the ice, not let it be that physical, mucky, kind of dirty game that the Panthers play.
Absolutely love it, man. I just hope, it was exciting towards the end, but that really wasn't a super thrilling game. So I hope we get something different from that game tonight. Moving on to the series that owns the most exciting game of the National Hockey League playoffs so far. The Colorado Avalanche are in Winnipeg for game 2 at the True North Center, the whiteout. Winnipeg minus 108, Colorado minus 112. The over is 6.5 at plus 102. The under, so the 6.5, right? Those 13 games that 13 goals scored the other night is making the Bucks go boop. Over 6.5 plus 102. The under is minus 122. Minus 1.5 is plus 215. Plus 1.5 is minus 265. I'm going to let you take this one first, but I'm going to open it up with a question. I am a new hockey writer for TotalApexSports.com, and I have been given the privilege of covering this series. And in writing my article this morning, I came across an issue where the Winnipeg Jets play at True North Center. Now, in Canada, you spell center CENTRE. And what spelling do I have to use when working for this wonderful American company? Because I have Canadian Microsoft Word, man. I don't recognize these American words. So that's an issue we're going to have to talk about moving forward.
Well, I appreciate the question. You can spell it the Canadian way, the centre, if you will. That's how I usually do it. So I'm glad you got some clarification on that. That's a really good question. My question for this game is, who is Colorado going to start in net? This is the only team on the DraftKings,
yeah, they announced it yesterday.
Okay, well, DraftKings doesn't have it yet. Every other game, both teams have a goalie listed except for Colorado. So that's why I was curious. If it's Georgie, I think I'm going to go with Winnipeg again. I mean,
yeah, man.
They've had his number, and it's really that simple. If he saves 80% of the shots in game one, the Avalanche win that by multiple goals. He didn't even save 70. So again, I'm going to take the over. I think the over is the mold for this series, at least until the Jets offense comes back down to earth. But for this game, because they're facing Georgie, because the Avs are going to need to open things up to keep up with that, I don't think their offense is coming back down to earth quite yet. So I'm going to take the Jets minus 108.
Yeah, the only thing that concerns me about the total is, and maybe it shouldn't concern me too much. I don't want to overcompensate too much because of what we saw the other night. But I mean, listen, man, we knew this about Georgiev. We talked about this Friday, man. We knew this coming into the playoffs. We knew it. And what concerns me about the total is, you think Hellebuck is allowing more than 3 goals for the rest of this series? The best goaltender in the world allows 6 goals, and you lose the hockey game. This guy is about to lock it down like something you've never seen before. Like, I'm worried if I'm Colorado. I'm very worried because you scored 6 goals against the best goaltender in the world. Excuse me. And you lost. That's similar vibes to the Islanders last night. And obviously, Colorado's a much better team than the Islanders are. I'm not saying that. But that's one of those games that you have to win that hockey game. You have to, because you're not scoring 6 goals against Hellebuck again. You're just not. And I thought that game on Sunday was perfectly catered to the Avalanche. It was fast. It was wacky. There was like high danger scoring chances all over the place. It was exactly what you wanted to get the Jets involved in if you're Colorado, and they did not take advantage. So I'm expecting a defensive lockdown from the Jets tonight, and I'm expecting Hellebuck to be what he has been this whole season. I think I'm leaning over as well, but that is something to think about because it's going to be a different hockey game. It has to be. And with that, I'm right with you. I'm taking the Jets at minus 108. All right, last game of the night, the Nashville Predators in Vancouver for game 2. Vancouver stole victory from the jaws of defeat in the third period of game 1 to lead the series 1-0. And I will confirm, I speculated about this the other day, I will confirm they did play Where the Streets Have No Name by U2 at the beginning of the game. And there is speculation of, are they dissing Nashville, or is it a throwback to 2011 Stanley Cup run that they went on where that was like their song or whatever? So maybe a little column A, maybe a little column B, but they did in fact play U2 to start that game the other night. Vancouver's minus 162 at home. Nashville plus 136. The over is 5.5 at minus 110, and the under is the same. Plus 1.5 for the Predators is minus 192. Minus 1.5 for the Canucks is plus 160. I'll tell you what, man. If Colorado scores the first, or if Vancouver scores the first goal of this game, they're winning the hockey game. That barn on Sunday night was just electric. Like, those guys are ready for playoff hockey in Vancouver. I really don't know where to go with this game, to be quite honest with you. I think I'm going to lean over, just because 5.5 for these two teams is a little bit, it's a little bit much, it's a little bit low. So I'm going to go over 5.5 at minus 110. And to be quite frank with you, aside, I don't really know yet, because I'm thinking Nashville. I don't see Nashville going back home down 2-0 in this series. But with what I saw in that arena in that third period, like, Quinn Hughes had the game of his life, and Vancouver played a terrific hockey game. I don't think they're going to win by 2 goals, and I don't like the minus 162 money line, and I don't really trust the 60-minute line either. So nothing on the Vancouver side value-wise really speaks to me. So I'm definitely going over, but I still don't know what I'm going to bet as far as a side goes. I'll probably put a little sprinkle on the Nashville money line, but nothing that I would recommend. What about you?
I'm not afraid of that 60-minute line from Vancouver. I'm a little bit afraid of that puck line, but even then, I feel like it's a decent bet. Nashville's eventually going to beat this team. I don't think it's going to be in Vancouver. Not the way that building erupted every time they scored, every PK.
It's unreal.
Energy was insane on game one. And if Nashville couldn't cash in, well, they did cash in on one of their power plays, but they had so many chances and only had 2 goals to show for it the entire night. Facing this team this season, they've now done it 4 times. 3-2 loss, 5-2 loss, 5-2 loss, 4-2 loss, if you're talking about the Predators. So they're not beating Demko enough to beat the Canucks. You need more than 2 goals to beat the Canucks.
Yep.
I don't see it happening in this game. I mean, Demko wasn't even that great the other day. He stopped 20 of the 22 shots he faced. Like, that's good. That's not insane.
Yeah, I agree.
One of them was unstable, but Saros, again, 4th straight game under 90 save percentage. He's been struggling very quietly. It's not concerning per se. You know the type of goalie he is. He will turn it around, but with that crowd ready to explode at any given moment, and the talent that they just have throughout that lineup, 4 lines deep, I just don't see it for Vancouver or for Nashville tonight. So I'm going to take that 60-minute line. And I think I'm with you. I'm going to take the over ever so slightly.
Yeah, it's going to be a great nightcap. The third period was absolutely thrilling. The rest of the game was okay, but we'll see what happens with it tonight. All right, wrapping up the show with our best bets, brought to you by, as always, First Round Collectibles. With our promo code SportsAddict, get 10% off whatever sports card your heart desires. Hockey, football, basketball, football, boxing, wrestling, they got it all. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off cards all over the store. And with our promo code SportsAddict, not only do you get 10% off of regular price items, but sales items as well. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today and find your heroes. That's the number 1, ST roundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans. I had to read that one nice and slow and delicately because I butchered that opening like horrendously. Andre, what do you got for your best bet, bro? Let's make some money.
I'm gonna stick with what's been working, not just this postseason, but in game 1 from Sunday. That was over in Jets Avs. I know it's at 6.5 now, but I'm not scared. Over 6.5 plus 102. I don't think it's going to be a 13-goal game, but I think the Jets are not going to have an issue scoring, and obviously the Avalanche are the highest scoring team in the league. They'll find some goals along the way.
Oh man, yeah, I'm a best bet. I'm excited for this game to be done because I'm a man of my word that I'm not doing props until I've seen 2 games. I'm just not, but I'm excited to get back in the prop thing. I will say, just a little kind of side note here, I really like Quinn Hughes 3+ shots. He nailed it last night. I like that again tonight. The guy's just possessed. You know what? Screw it. That's what I'm doing. I'm going for it. What do we got here? Let me see what I got.
I got Quinn Hughes over 2.5 shots at plus 110.
Done. Absolutely done. I said I'm a man of my word. I lied. I'm not a man of my word at all. Completely a deceptive guy. Over 2.5 shots. What'd you say? Plus
110.
Done. Absolutely done. I love it. He nailed that the other night. He was just a man possessed the other night, man. So, yeah, give me Quinn Hughes, man. Over 2.5 shots. Love it.
Well, we learned today that Mark is not a man of his word. We also learned that he really likes Quinn Hughes over 2.5 shots. That is plus 110 for me. Over 6.5 in Avalanche Jets is plus 102. Parlayed together, plus 324.
Let's get it, man. You nailed the over in that Dallas Vegas game last night, and they just every time Dallas scored, they just could not get a save. Just sunk me, man. Absolutely sunk me. Thank God for the MLB and for the Toronto Maple Leafs last night, because I wouldn't have won any money if I was relying on the Dallas Stars. And with that, everybody, thank you so much, as always, for watching. Charles, Chuck, my guy Chuck, and Gabe, thank you guys for watching. Always vocal in the chat. We appreciate you. First Round Collectibles, promo code SportsAddict for 10% off regular price and sales price items. Go to Total Apex Sports today on YouTube and on X. Andre will be all over their live content. Also go there for excellent sports analysis. Excellent writers, excellent team at Total Apex Sports. See you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the games.